It's a letter that she sent to John Sullivan of the Times-Herald-Record, and she wanted to respond to that, and she did, and this will go in the record. And she sent me this to do that in that accord. Now, what I'd like to do in this case is, if you've already spoken in a prior public hearing, it's already on the record. If you have something additional or new to talk about on that, we'd like to hear that. If someone has not had an opportunity to say something, we'd like them to participate as well. So it's, again, if you would, we'll have the microphone out there. If you'd state your name and where you live and your comments. Right? Yes.
Hi, my name is Carol Wunder. I live at 11 White Oak Terrace. I did speak at the last meeting. And I was just doing some research, and I have a few questions. It seems that this is something that has been put before the board many, many times, starting back in 2008, when Goshen Green was supposedly starting as 54 homes. So I'm wondering, how did this, and it was denied, it's been repeatedly denied by the board. My question is, why does it keep coming up to the board?
Okay, this is the first time that we've had we changed the zoning in our coding in 2000.
Is that from their request? Because
No. We spent 2 or 3 years looking at the zoning and coding and our comprehensive plan that was established in 2004. And we redid it. We tried to keep the things that were working well and to change those things that we had questions about to make improvements. And so this request, we rezoned that property. Okay? This request came in because this town board is the one that would officiate and adjudicate requests for special use permits. Okay? They came forward with this. This is a brand new request by them to build a planned adult community on that property.
So the original request was for 54 homes. So how did
that was before the planning board, if they had such an application, and I can't reflect on that if they did or didn't.
That never came in front of us. It went in front of the planning board.
Right.
Okay.
But I can say this.
This says a work session of the town board held on the 22nd day of December 2008. Since I got off the website.
I know this, that we had, and I don't remember the dates, they came before the town board requesting a special use permit.
That's correct.
We denied that special use permit for this very item.
That's correct.
Okay. We're being sued, okay, and our attorneys advised us, we did not hold a public hearing, they advised us that it would be best to have a public hearing to hear from the public. Okay? And that's why we got involved in the public hearing, to hear from you as well.
After February of this year? Because at this work session in February of this year, it was denied for several reasons.
Right.
Well, we denied it.
Right. We talked about previous.
The litigation was commenced after February this year.
Right.
And is that simply because there was no public hearing?
No, there's a number of issues. As the supervisor pointed out, our code reflects, much like the prior application, if you were here to hear the public hearing comments in that regard, this is also a special use. It's for a planned adult community, or PAC. And under our zoning ordinance, a special use granted by this board, which is discretionary, will have to be approved before the project can be moved to the planning board for further detailed discussion, approval, or denial. And they, again, applied sometime, I want to say, in the latter portion of 2007, perhaps early 2008. And this board's initial decision was a denial of that application. And as the supervisor just pointed out, we are now going through the process of what they call, in legal terms, mooting an issue of not having held a public hearing in that regard. So we're now, again, proceeding with the public hearing, taking the public's comments, and those of the applicant. And there are criteria in the code by which the board will be guided making a decision and whatnot. So this is, again, the very inception or start stages, if you will, of the application.
then back in July of this year also, it was stated, I believe, are you referring to Goshen?
I am not.
Yeah.
Okay. That notices needed to be sent to the county, the town of Hamptonburg, and the surrounding property owners.
Yes.
I did not receive any such notice.
In regard to public hearing?
Any of this, yes.
Okay, again, I can't speak to that, but again,
Who was responsible for sending notices to the surrounding
indirectly the
property
applicant, but the town, by law, with any public hearing, the county must be notified on the planning stage of this matter, and usually residents or property owners within 300 feet of the particular site which is being affected by the application should have been notified.
Because we weren't having a public hearing at that time.
Well,
I believe at the last meeting a few weeks ago, even the town of Hamptonburg had to send something in writing because they were unaware of these things as well.
I know the town of Hampton was subsequently notified, but yes, there are many number of procedures which have to be complied
did
with.
not do what they were supposed to do in sending out the proper notice.
I can't speak to that. I don't know. Again, I can't speak to that. I do not know.
Well,
It seems as I'm reading it over the years, they keep changing their minds. As soon as they get the board to agree with what they want to do, they change their vision or what they want to do with the property.
Not
How it
unusual.
went from 54 homes to over 200
I imagine that.
rental units is, I don't understand that.
Not uncommon for an applicant to change, if you will, its theory or application procedure. It has to do with what use they want to make of the land. And many times it's an economic motive. They want to maximize the unit count, if you will. I can't speak for what the applicant did or thought or what their process was in this regard, but I suspect that the number of units was probably driven by the existing zoning ordinance in effect when the particular application was made. And by that I mean in terms of density.
And has the board taken into consideration Mr. Shapiro wanting to clarify false assumptions previously presented? She's stating that Timber Trail is less than half a mile from the boundary of the village of Goshen, which it is not, which really doesn't matter because it's too far to walk and there are no sidewalks or any public transportation. She's stating it is not too far away from the village of Goshen. She's stating that she continued by detailing the planned benefits and services to be provided to the aged 55 plus residents. That a train station is located less than 2.3 miles away. I don't know what these residents can do with that train because it's a commuter train. And I'm assuming she's trying to make a retirement community. And she says that the residents in this pack will be able to utilize the train transportation, which is, again, a lot of these statements that she's making, they're just ludicrous. If you live where this area is, like so you will realize that all of the things that she's proposing, they're just not realistic.
okay.
And I don't want to repeat, again,
No,
everything that we said at the last meetings about the density and dangerous.
Little clarification on your notification. When we made our decision, we did not have a public hearing. We would not have been notified, other than, when a public hearing came about. Yes. And you were not. Okay. Would you live within do you live within 300 feet?
Oh, I don't know, but I had to send them out 500 feet, and my front porch didn't affect anybody.
Sure. Okay. You're
It
special.
just made my house look pretty.
Okay. Thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Kathy McGrath, 12 White Oak Terrace. I also spoke at the last meeting briefly, but I came a little bit better prepared this time, so I have a few other facts to share. I accessed a website that published some very interesting facts about Goshen, and I guess my questions relate to this community and the need that Goshen has for an adult community. And the facts don't seem to support it. So when you look at, and these numbers go back to about 2009, so they're not super up to date. But we're not an aging community. The median resident age for Goshen is 38. That's pretty far away from senior, in my opinion. And when you compare it to New York State, it's just a little bit over the average. So New York State is 35.9. The other interesting fact was this is supposed to be affordable or low-income, moderate housing, but the average household income for Goshen is over $70,000 a year, which is higher than the average for the state of New York.